Gentlemen and lady, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I'm back and I got another juicy deck for you featuring Ferrus Manus, the Primarch of the Iron Hands. From what I've seen and heard, the community regards Ferrus as pretty bad, and I agree to some extent. His kit is somewhat underwhelming. For example, I don't understand why Everguild won't let him choose his augment. There are 4 total augments, so you're not guaranteed to always get what you want. And his Reckoning is extremely win more. You will most of the time not use it to swing a game. It will only help you accelerate a game where you're already winning anyway. But I found a pretty good niche for him, I think. I've been using this deck for the past 2 days, and I've actually climbed it to almost top 10. I'm ranked 12 with it now, and I'd say without further ado, let's check out the deck. Alright, and this is a deck I decided to not play into Ferrus Reckoning at all. If you want to focus on Pride, I suggest you play Santar. He does the whole Pride thing simply better. But on the other hand, Santar is pretty boring and predictable in my opinion, which this deck is certainly not. I decided to play into the other strength of the Iron Hands, and that being good late game vehicles, energy manipulation and ramp. What we are trying to do here is to ramp up with Asteroid's Belt, Drilling Sight, and reduce the cost of stuff in our hand with Iron Salvos, Clan Rokan of course, and Ancient Morn. We pair it up with some control tools and draw, and there we go. We have a very nice combo ramp Ferrus Manus deck, which will catapult you into at least top 50 if you play it correctly. Let's talk about the cards real quick. First of all, why did I choose Ferrus? As mentioned, not because of his Reckoning, but because of his ability. You can get augments on demand, and the 40 HP also helps a bit. As mentioned, his Reckoning is not something you should rely on. Sometimes it will help you. I played like around, I think, 100 games with this deck now, and I got Reckoning like twice, or it was playable more than twice, but I played it only twice, and I think only once it actually mattered. It was against the Mortarion, if I remember correctly, where the game dragged out a little bit and I was basically top decking, and there the Reckoning actually helped me win the game. But all Ferrus is here for is to have 40 HP and generate the augments on demand. We need the augments for big prides like, for example, Vanbrus, Probaxis, Hammerbearer, and Ancient Morn. Then we got, of course, Drilling Sight. As mentioned, it just helps us to ramp. Just use it at the appropriate time. I don't think there's a specific scenario where you want to use it. It's obviously great if you want to play something ahead on curve. Then we got Arbus Lighter, as usual, a very nice tool to have. You can cycle with it. That's what I mostly do with that. On the other hand, you can use it to create an augment and play it at the same turn if you're 1 energy short, or in tough situations you can also heal up. Then we got Cadmiax, that goes in almost every Iron Hand stack. We just use it to mitigate our early game weakness a little bit. We can cheese out something really nasty here for a turn 2 or turn 3 play, and that's about it. I think by now you know how Cadmiax works. Then Command Bridge, we use it turn 1 if we have it in our starting hand to fetch for a belt, or late game if we are up against Ravenguard for the Call of Cowardice or a Clan Rokan. That's what I mostly use it for. Causal Squad, he helps us fetch those big vehicles we have. Pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes if you have a full hand, don't hesitate to just play this on tempo. If you have something like a Survivor Augment or the Shield Augment, empty your hand a little bit and also buff it up with Survivor or Shield to make it a little sticky troop. Asteroid's Belt, this just helps us to ramp. This is our best turn 2 play. Then Immortal Sergeant, this is simply a very good troop. Having low cost starters doesn't hurt in this deck, and this helps us a lot against stuff like Angron. If you're using augments on this guy, the best one is the Heart, because it will get Survivor and then still trigger the Pride to get the shield. Iron Salvo, pretty easy removal. You can also use it as a finisher on the face, but most of the time we will use it to clear something. You will deal 3 damage to it and reduce the cost of a troop you have in your hand by 1. A Charonian Secutor, a very good addition from the last expansion from the neutral pool. This is basically a Gorsel squad, but it does 1 more damage and has better stats. Costs more though. Same principle as with Gorsel Squad. If you happen to have a lot of vehicles in your hand already and you don't want to draw more of those, for example you have double Probaxis and Clan Rokan in hand, you can just play these on 4 to gain some tempo and do some chip damage on your opponent. Medusa. So this is a double-edged sword. I think this is a pretty shit legendary, but since I'm playing Drilling Sight, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna need some draw, because in some games I'm actually vomiting my hand and I end up with like 2 cards turn 3 or something like that. So Medusa helps a bit with that. Many times those will be a dead card because you generate augments with Ferrus Manus ability, and early game you don't play that much usually. But if the game breaks on, this is pretty good. But yeah, I wish I had something else, but as mentioned, because I have Drilling Sight and Ferrus Manus is a Primarch, so it starts with 1 less card most of the time, I think you kind of have to play Medusa. Just be careful, it's very likely to mill you if you have like 5 cards in your hand. Chestial Illustri, another very nice addition from the last expansion. 5 energy, 4/5 with shield. It will fetch you one of those vehicles, and it's just good stats. You won't use the active ability that much, honestly, but yeah, it's just a solid 5 energy troop in my opinion. Call of Cowardice, I run only 1 copy because it's been honestly enough. You see a lot of Raven Guard, but not that many, and there's also of course Ruthless Cannonade, which you can play instead of that, but this clears most of the dangerous troops Raven Guard has, and that being the Void Furies, the 5/3 which gives sentence to all your units, or the 6/4 legendary 4/5 energy. I don't remember the names, but I'll just plant in the pictures here. And if you're not playing against Raven Guard, this still helps a lot. I think even better than Ruthless Cannonade because it hits more than 3 targets, so if you're up against something like the Fenris of Caliban or Cambodias, this still clears the turrets and Jaegers. Then Gorgon Hammer Barrow, same principle as with the Immortal Sergeant. This is just a very good mid-range troop. It makes our augments cost 0 and you get more augments on Pride. Pretty solid. For example, if you have something like a lag in your hand, like an augmentic lag, and you played Belt, you can swing the board by playing this guy, giving him an augmentic lag, then he has 3 legs, I guess, and can flank into something your opponent played the turn before. Ancient Morn, not a must include in my opinion, but keep in mind we don't always draw Clan Rokan. This deck doesn't focus on OTKing your opponent with Probexus. It's not the only win condition here. It is one, but it doesn't always happen. So this guy helps a bit to reduce the cost of all these high cost vehicles. He's doing fine, I think. As mentioned, not an auto include, but he did well, and I think he just fits well into the curve, so we have also to play something on 6. Ironclad Punishment, 1 copy of Heart Removal. I think this can come in handy. You won't always reduce it to low cost, simply because we don't have that many low energy vehicles, but if you have it in your hand and your opponent happens to be able to clear all the big vehicles you played, then you can play it for like 4 or 5 energy and I think it's still fine. Clan Rokan. So, as mentioned, this deck doesn't focus on Probexus OTK, so if you have it on 7 and if you have 2 or more vehicles in your hand, just play it, don't think much about it. Any vehicle you hit with that is worth the value. Somewhat of a key card and win condition. If you get double Adamantium Glaive, it's also very good in my opinion. If you get double Probexus, then even better. Ataxian Kratos, good stats, good rally, and also hits vehicles, Titan weapons, and yeah, vehicles and Titan weapons for 6. Not much to explain, just a very good late game vehicle in my opinion. Ironfell Vanbras, it's not a vehicle, but he creates vehicles in our hand. We don't necessarily want to hit them with Clan Rokan. This is just another very good late game troop, and he can be a win condition by himself. If he sticks for 1 or 2 turns, and you get a lot of good stuff for cheap, just hope that he doesn't generate you all those rapiers. Then, as mentioned, if he sticks, he will provide a lot of value. And well, if he gets removed, then it's very likely that your opponent won't have an answer for Probexus or Adamantium Glaive, for example. Speaking of Probexus, holy moly. I was not very stoked when I saw those on release, but in this deck they are magical. They can punch your opponent for, I don't know, if you happen to be lucky and get Clan Rokan and Dapple Probexus, then give those Probexus each 1 an arm, they will punch your opponent for 24 damage in 1 turn. That's insane. Also keep in mind one little thing with Clan Rokan, it lowers the cost of 2 vehicles in your hand to 0, but not only for 1 turn. You don't necessarily have to play the vehicles the turn which you played Clan Rokan. Keep that in mind. And then Adamantium Glaive, I think this is also not a must-have, but it served me really well. It sucks if you have it in your starting hand, but your opponent will mostly use his Heart Removal on the other big stuff we have. They often even use it on the Hammer Barrow and Ancient Morn, and it's just good stats with a front line and against aggro, something like Angron for example. I had this just win me the game by itself, even if I played it for its full cost. Alright, that was the deck, but as usual, if you don't agree with me on some of my card choices, or if you're missing some of these cards, I got some card alternatives for you. First of all, Harmix or Haramix Squad, I have no idea how those are pronounced. It's a decent early game troop and you see those a lot in Santar. But Santar can't generate augments on demand while we can, so unless you want some early game distraction for your opponent or something, I wouldn't necessarily play those because they will fill your hand with augments, which you will have more than enough, trust me. Then we have Nerves of Steel. So, why would we play Nerves of Steel? I played this in this deck and it led to some fun scenarios. If you have double Probexus from Clan Rokan, 0 energy, no augment, you play both of the Probexus, you play Nerves of Steel, and then Probexus will punch twice, 9, 18 damage, and then at the end of your turn, because they are damaged unless you're playing against the Titan, they are going to punch one more time, 36 damage. I had that happen only once, and that is why I don't main deck this, simply because it's a very nice card to use. But in some cases, well, it will provide hilarious results, so if you're feeling funny, include Nerves of Steel. Then Medusan Immortals, same principle as with the Hermix squad or whatever they were called. It's a decent early mid-range troop, doesn't have a bad pride effect. Then Ruthless Cannonade, it does more damage than Call of Cowardice but doesn't hit stealth extra, and also it's not guaranteed to hit all enemies on your opponent's board, so I prefer Call of Cowardice. But if you disagree with me, then play this, it's not bad, instead of the Call of Cowardice, for example. Or you can also play 1-1, it's up to you, honestly. And then Thunderhawk drop, if you're, for example, missing something like Probaxis, or if you don't want to play the Adamantium Glaives, you can play Thunderhawk drop, it's not bad. You can basically cheat out something like Probaxis or the Glaive 201 turn earlier. The problem is that Thunderhawk drop doesn't get reduced by stuff like Iron Salvo, Ancient Morn, or of course Clan Rokan. But it's a good substitute if you're missing Probaxis, for example. Then some neutral cards, we got Orbital Siege. This works well with Ferrus Augments. If you have too many in your hand and your opponent vomited something on the board, like Cambodias, for example, it's a pretty bad matchup for this deck, then just drop the Orbital Siege, discard all your Augments, and then clear the board. Reset it, basically. Problem with this is, if you have some key tactics in your hand, this will hurt a lot. Then Sax Demon. I decided not to play it because of the maintenance. If your opponent decides to keep it on your board, you won't be able to play any of your late game vehicles. And we have a good amount of removal, and the lag augment also gives troops flank, so I was fine without it, but you can play it, of course. It's a very good neutral card and good removal, but as mentioned, it's risky. If your opponent decides to ignore it or can disable it with counter attack or a stun, then you're going to sit on 6 energy, and on 6 energy most of the time you won't be able to do that much. Ulan Huda, this is another good fetch for vehicles, but I have more than enough. If I'm not mistaken, I have 5 cards which fetch vehicles already, so I don't need another 2. I still don't like the other effects of Ulan Huda, so that random damage and a random Mark of Chaos, they won't see use, unlike Arbuslider, where every effect has a use. And yeah, you can obviously use it a bit easier than you can use the little dudes, Gorsel Squad or the Adjutant Secutor. You don't have to kill something to draw the vehicle, but I really like the body on the board more than just having a 1 energy card drawing it. Regardless, if you want more fetch, then go ahead and play Ulan Huda. And at last, Alchemist Grammaton. So this is obviously pretty funny. It's a bit like Nerves of Steel. If you happen to have a big vehicle on the board, you can just copy it with Alchemist Grammaton. It doesn't copy the buffs or the augments the vehicle has. It will just drop the base vehicle as it is, as if you would play it from your hand. The problem is it's super difficult to use. I think I didn't even try it. I tried it in some other decks, and it's, as mentioned, super difficult to use. If you can actually put it to use, it's pretty cool, but it's simply difficult, and we want to win with this deck, you know? We don't want to be funny. But if you want to be funny, include Nerves of Steel, include Alchemist Grammaton. It's up to you. Alright, that was the deck. And I'd say I will show you some replays today. Again, no live gameplay, sorry for that. But I got some juicy replays from the last 2 that I've played this deck. And I'd say, let's jump into the first one. So, first game is against the Santar. Not the best matchup if he gets a good early game. We don't have many ways to come back. He does the default Iron Hand stuff simply better than we do. But let's see, don't have any good choices here from Cadmiax. I decide to go for the 3-drop. Simply because I can play it next turn. Obviously, against Santar, you want some board presence. He plays Cadmiax as well. No idea what that was. So I play the Hermix now. If I didn't choose Hermix, I would have had it a turn here. Don't want that against the Santar. Generates a heart. Pretty good. Makes it more sticky. And I generate an arm. Getting a Pride Trigger here. Not bad, but as mentioned, the Reckoning won't matter that much. Alright, he plays the 3-drop, the good old Rhino, gives it the counterattack. 3-5, turn 3. Spawn a 1-3. Oh boy. Just center things. He face bashes into it, I guess, so I can't augment it without popping the Survivor. Because I'm gonna trade here anyway, so the attack didn't really matter. 2 bashes, and then the Secutor is gonna draw me another vehicle and just establish some board control. Gonna draw a Kratos. This will come in handy if he's gonna play some vehicles himself later on. So he got this from Cadmiax, not too shabby. This is gonna become 2-5. and play a Harmix. Harmix? No idea. So he attacks into this and then face bashes me. I would have probably attacked this, but it doesn't matter effectively. So yeah, let's see. I play the Chestiol Illustri. And then I guess I trade into this one. I could also trade this one, but this one can kill this without dying, so yeah. Oh, I give this one shield because I thought that if this remains on the board, he will need another action to kill it. If this would die, he would just attack into this, attack into this, attack into this, and then play something. This way I have something on the board. So yeah, he top decks fucking Immortal Sergeant, gives him flank, face bashes this away, smacky smack, smacky smack, and he won't attack with this one. He will just keep it around. We'll go up to 5 health. So yeah, awkward situation, and I have a dead turn here. That sucks. That happens with this deck though. I give this a robotic hand. Sucks to pop the shield like that, not gonna lie, but it is as it is. But we need to get rid of the fucking immortal. Yeah, that turn. That's what you really don't want against Santar, but I had somewhat of a awkward hand here. I drew, I think, 1 vehicle. I fetched 1 and drew 3. That happens sometimes with this deck. That happens. And he obviously goes full apeshit on me here. Decides not to attack with this one, because he assumes I'm just gonna face bash it then. I won't though. I don't care. I play Rokan here. I really hope that it will hit at least 1 Kratos. And it does. Very good. Yeah. This way I can kill the Melchador. And I decide not to play the Probaxis. I'll keep it in my hand so I can surprise him, basically. And as you will see, it will actually work. He plays more stuff. And gives Polix a shield. And everything goes to the face. Looking grim for me, right? But the heart of the cards, gentlemen. The heart of the cards. That attack was completely unnecessary from him. So, kinda punished. Honestly. Because... why? I'm not gonna heal anyway. This kills me. Like, what's the point? So yeah, that's exact lethal. With the Iron Salvo top deck. Punished for greed. I like it. Again, yeah, it was a top deck, but that punish feels good. And we send Santa to the Shadow Realm. Show some respect, man. Show some respect for your Primarch. Alright, next one is against another fucking slave, Angron. At this point, I think I was a bit pissed, so I remind him of his weakling status over and over. Very good Ferrus line. I suggest you use it as much as you can against slaves. That's mental warfare, basically. That's like the old Ferrus with Surrender to me. Very good starting hand. I got a command bridge, get an asteroids belt, got the sergeant, got the secretary. Good early game. My man here also has some good early game though. Void engagement into void engagement. Into another tactic. 6 damage, turn 1. Yep, not too shabby, brother. But yeah, let's play the belt. Best play here, obviously.
Weakling.
Remind him of his soy boy status with the weakling voice line. Old Ferrus did it all pretty well. He got he had the surrender to me line. That was pretty juicy. I use my ability first to see what augment I get, to see if I will play the Sergeant or Cadmiax here. I get a heart, that's the best augment for the Sergeant. So I play him. Pretty good. 4-3, survivor 2, shield frontline. So let's see how Angron deals with that. He attacks into it, takes 4. And this reduces the Vicious Strike to 4 energy. Yeah, so we had to attack into it at least. And he wastes the heart removal. And as you guys know, we have a lot of big boys in our deck. So, Cadmiax. Nothing really good. I decide to go for the Morlock Veteran. Once per energy, so I get another augment and play the Warlock Veteran. Let's see how the weakling deals with that.
Weakling.
Sorry, I love this line. Alright. Charge forward. 4 attack. Counter attack. 5 attack. Honestly, I'm happy if he uses a part of his combo here. And Spiteful Challenge. Very nice. Yeah, he's gonna kill that. Not take any damage in the process. But as you saw, he used like 2 parts of this combo here. And Spiteful Challenge. I can totally live with that. He plays a naked Yokara. Why not, I guess. I face bash into it. And play the Secutor. I don't know why he played it naked. It's like you can use it to clear stuff very conveniently. It just didn't matter. He at all just gave me a card basically. Whatever. It's just an Angron thing, you know. Card green I play. Plays the 6/5 Berserk dude. What's his name again? Sergeant Carval. So yeah, didn't matter if it got pinged for 1 or 2 here. It did matter, but yeah, he cleared it anyway. So if Yokara pinged it for 2, it would have died. So yeah, I used the Kratos here to get rid of the Berserk guy if he has something like Frenzied Assault. What's the name? Frenzied Charge. I don't want like repings. So he top decks the Thunderhawk and of course draws a Drug. Sucks to see it. Gets rid of the big tank. But we got another one. Let's see if we can deal with this one as well. Once per energy I create an augment and play the Kratos here. The obvious play, I guess. And we get a heart. We want an arm of the Probaxis. Remind him of his cock status. Very important in this game as mentioned. Or in these games. It's psychological warfare, boys. Really. It's not... And I don't have anything against them. It's just, as mentioned, psychological warfare. Interesting play here. Again, uses part of his combo to try and clear the board. So he hits 1 and 1. It had to hit 2 twice to actually clear it. But imagine if he had 2 Iokaras, then he would have maybe cleared it. I give him a face bash, and then another face bash with Tonk. And I have nothing else to do, so I just play the Probaxis, and I think I attach another leg onto it, so it has 3 legs now. And that means it will have 10 attack, and this will reduce his health to 2. That means he cannot play any part of his combo anymore. Remind him who he is. He actually top decks a heal, like his top deck game is all over the place, man, not gonna lie. I had a good early game, but yeah. He had his whole combo here, but yeah. Didn't help in the end. He had to use it on my juicy troops. Alright. That's it for this one. Let's jump into the next one. This one is not against a slave, it's against a gentleman playing a Qruze or whatever he's called. This was a relatively funny game. If he has Machine, I lose. if you play against agents with this deck and they get Machine, you lose. I keep this because why not? Iron Salvo clears assassins, for example, or if he plays something like the One Energy Lady or something like that. I thought I'm gonna keep it. It's not the perfect starting hand. Usually you want to mulligan for Cadmiacs and belts, but I decided, fuck it. Arbor Slider, draw a card, not much else to do. Fill my hand a little bit, and here's the assassin. Guessing something, I don't know what. And he face bashes me, Mr. Butt Main. So, I have nothing to play, I decide, fuck it, let's go for Medusa. I'm gonna mill myself, but I need stuff to play. 10 cards in hand. So yeah, I'm gonna mill something, but I don't mind. Except if it's Probaxis or Clan Rokan, of course, but I thought, yeah. It's probably better than not playing anything. Ironclad Punishment, yeah, it's fine. I got a belt though, so yeah. That's the problem with Medusa, but I guess I had nothing else to play there. And I killed a dude. Pretty good. Didn't trigger his 5 damage stuff. Here's the assassin. So I thought, yeah, command bridge. I'm gonna just command bridge into Cull of Cowardice. Yeah, guess what? I'm just gonna top deck it. I mean, I would have fished for it, but here, I'll take it. Clears the assassin. pretty good. But yeah, it's also a thing with Call of Cowardice. It kills all the assassins from Agents of the Sigilite. That's also pretty important because these are dangerous troops. I fish for Clan Rokan. I can play it next turn. And yeah, this game was overall pretty funny. This is 4-6 now, by the way. Forgot about that. So, Clan Rokan. Let's see it. I get a Probaxis and the Glaive. I decide to play both. This time I don't hold back with the Probaxis. I have a robotic arm, so fuck it. Yeah, augmentic arm, whatever. So 3-arm Probaxis hits him for 12 here. I decide not to face bash because I simply don't need to. What's he gonna do, like? So he attacks into this one. And he actually has an answer here with Sword of Truth, so he's able to kill the 11-11. But I have lethal in hand, so as mentioned, that's why I didn't face bash. It doesn't really matter what he does here. And he has a boss fight, so he delays the inevitable for another turn. I decide to just play the Vambrace here. Yeah, he has no seals generated yet, so no idea what's gonna happen. I give him an eye. And as mentioned, I don't need to face bash. This is easy peasy, relaxed. What's he gonna do about this? We got a Glaive, we got a Oberus. It's pretty good. So he gets rid of the shield. And gives me the emote and scoops it up. So yeah, pretty funny game, not gonna lie, but this is how it can go. Yeah, pretty autopilot. Alright, for the next one. Alright, this was a juicy one against a relatively high elo Exodus player. No idea what the name is, but nice lodge. I get an Arbeitsleiter, decide to use it to draw. And get a drilling site, pretty good. And get an Augment in my hand. Alpha Legion not the best matchup because Instrument really uses our big guys against us. And we tend to have a full hand. But yeah. He drilling sights into a Ghost Legionary. Usually I won't have really anything to deal with except Iron Salvo. But I have a drilling sight into an Executor here. I could also play Iron Salvo, but for damage I decide to go for the other play. Drilling sight into Executor also empties my hand a little bit. This is, as mentioned, relatively important against Alpha Legion, otherwise harrowing and all that stuff. It's pretty badly. Alright, he also uses Exodus instantly. Why not, I guess. Yeah, he goes face. All the people, if you see Ferrus, this is like, I don't know, if he looks like a punching bag. Everyone face bashes Ferrus. I don't know if you noticed in this replays yet, but everyone goes face against you. You don't need to face bash them into the combo range of the Probaxis. Everyone's doing that by themselves. Against Santar, they don't do that. They don't do that against Santar. He stuns my 3-3, which is fair. And goes face with everything. I wouldn't have done that. I would have kept that one around, to be honest. And now he pops the mission. Alright. Bit late, but whatever. Also, misuse his stealth there if he plays mission, but yeah, whatever. Who am I to judge? I use Iron Salvo on the 3-3. Reduce the cost of the Kratos so I can play it next turn. Take 5 from the Infiltrator, or whatever he's called. But it's whatever. So, he plays a 5-5, can't attack, keeps face bashing me. People are not aware of the insane lethal range Iron Hands actually have with Probaxis. And they keep doing stuff like that. Why not just play patient? Why not wait for an instrument, harrowing, stuff like that? You have all the tools to win the game, but no, you decide to be greedy. Which is understandable, of course, but yeah. 11 points ahead on HP. 2 abilities loaded here. But I give this one a shield, so it stays alive after the attack, so he can't Thunderhawk me or some shit, and play more dudes, so again he can't Thunderhawk me or some shit. Give this one the leg just so it has one more attack, because I'm softening him up here for the Probaxis since I have a drilling sight in hand. Probaxis and a face bash from me here is exactly 12 damage. That's why I did this somewhat funky play. He decides, yeah, I'm not gonna trade. I'm just gonna do this, and he clears my tank, but
Weakling.
I give him the weakling because he was so greedy, I think. But as mentioned, I just love that voice line. And yeah, here's the drilling site. I guess he didn't really expect that. And we got the Probexis with a lag, 10 damage. So yeah. And end the turn here for the sweet Probexis finish. Nice mission progress also. Alright. I say we got time for one last one. Let's see how that one goes. Alright, last game for the day is against Corvus Corax. Another top 10 players, second one for the day. I decide to be greedy and keep Hammer Baron Rokan simply because Corax most of the time has a somewhat of a slow start.
Make it worthwhile.
I hope the voice lines didn't go well here. Whatever. I draw with the Arbor Slider. I'm gonna see what I get here. Cadmiax pretty good. Wish I had it this turn though. So I use the remaining energy to get an arm in my hand. I hate when Coraxes do that. Just a 3-4 on tempo instead of just using their fucking ability. Just why not use your fucking ability, man? What? I don't know, pressure or what? Let me know in the comments, I don't know. I choose the fucking 2-drop, the 4-drop with the Arbor Slider because of that pressure, simply because I want to have something on the board, you know. I decide not to attack into it because I have the counterattack, so if he clears it, I'm just gonna use the counterattack to clear it. And he just plays another one. Yeah, he decides to go for the board tempo. As mentioned, let me know in the comments. I think it's not really worth it because you are more... How I see it is that you actually want to use these guys when you don't have your ability available and use it on actually useful stuff like the Furies or Chooser of the Slain or the Sentence to All guy, this 5-3-1. You know it. So yeah. I decide to pick something playable again because, well, he vomits his hand. And I face bash into this, so if it trades, it dies, or if it attacks me, it dies. And here's the Sergeant Drake, that's the name. I forgot. Yeah. Don't try to face bash, or try to not face bash Ferrus challenge. I decide to go for this guy because the shield works really nicely against Sentence. I play this instead of the Hammer Barrow here. That's basically the only reason. Yeah, he face bashed into it, otherwise would have probably died. I don't know. So yeah, maybe I should have played the Hammer Barrow. I'm not sure. I don't think it really matters. But I have Clan Rokan. I think this is also why I played this guy. So I really wanted to top deck a vehicle here, but didn't work. I don't want to take another 5. I just used the Iron Salvo. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit this. Then I could have played it. So instead, I just generate another augment. And the lag is gonna come in handy here, actually. Again, no vehicle inside, so I just play the Hammer Bearer and give him a lag, give him a heart, if I'm not mistaken. And also generate 1 augment. Yeah, I could have generated a shield here or something, I think. Let's see. I get another heart. I'm just gonna play it here as well, I think. It doesn't really matter if it has 1 HP left in Survivor 4 or 2 HP in Survivor 2. So I thought, whatever, I'm just gonna play it. I'm just gonna get another augment again. Faces to place. And another flanky flank. Uses the 5-4 on me. Again, he just vomits his hand. I don't know if this is the right approach. He just tries to pressure the shit out of me, basically. So yeah, I play the glaive here. This game I'm also kind of not lucky. You know, not getting a Clan Rokan but no vehicles in hand. Sometimes happens, so I decided to just drilling inside this one. He plays Bane of Tyrants. I don't know, card green I play or some shit. And that's it. He doesn't have anything else. Imagine if he had this on this, or if he would use this with the Sentence guy or some shit like that. It's really so difficult to use combos. I don't know. I decide not to play Kratos because I can't play him alongside this. I decide to do this. Give it a lag. So this basically kills this, you know, with the lag. 4 damage, not too shabby for 3 energy. I get another lag, and I decide to give this one an arm. He doesn't really... He used so many flankers, I think, like, fuck it. I'm just gonna swing in for 14. That's half of his HP. If he's not going to be able to deal with this, or hide, or some shit like that, I'm just gonna win. Form a network. Gives it stealth. I don't know what else was in his hand if he had another 6, but yeah. That's GG. I think he deceived here or something. I don't know, because the replay basically ends here. I obviously swing in with that. Alright. And that was it for today, gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. I think this deck is certainly worth trying if you thought Ferrus Manus was bad. And of course, let me know in the comments what you think about the deck, and don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on future live streams and videos. I hope to see you guys in the next one, and until then, peace.